Hi there. So what we're going to do next in our project is open up the previous work that we've done. So if you open up Scratch on the desktop, not on the online version, and because we've saved it before, we should be able to click on here and then load from your computer. So that's going in, and save is like you're saving it to your computer, and upload is sometimes a word that's used in programming and computers. I think it was this one that I've used, week 2, John. And here we go. I'll make it bigger. So now we have our platforms, we have our sprite that should work. Let me see. It's going up and down and side to side. You need to double check that. And then in fact, I'm going to clean up the blocks, remember? It makes it nice and tidy. This looks a bit okay. I forgot to add something the other week, and it is, if you go down, it kind of goes off the screen a bit. So what we need to do is think, what's happening? Well, he goes to the edge, and we don't want him to go to the edge. So there's a piece of code here. We want him to be stopped or bounce off the edge. And if you look down here, you can see that, there it is. So on edge bounce, you're going to pop it into each one. And each one clicks in. Oh, I don't want that. I'm going to spread those out actually. We all make mistakes, that is fine. That needs to come off if on edge bounce. I think it would be okay there, but I'm not sure. You remember when we said that the order of coding sometimes and algorithms does make a big difference? I'm not sure if it does. And then I'm going to test that to check with it. Can you see it doesn't go off the screen there? Although. Okay, right, so that's that bit done. I'm happy with that. Now what I've got to do is to try and stop him from going through those platforms. And what you need to do is kind of break down the problem into little pieces, into little bits, and little simpler bits. In computing we call this decomposition, breaking it down to small bits that you can do to make it easier for yourself. To do this with this one, what we do is we tell the sprite not to pass through that platform, but the computer wouldn't know what a platform is, but it knows what a colour is. So basically what we say is don't pass through the colour blue, and that's why we had to choose a colour that wasn't in the background, the backdrop picture. So how do we do this? Well, what we often do is use this little command here in events, and this is a separate string of code, okay, and it's when the flag is clicked. That's like the beginning of the game. That tells it to start the game. And then we have to use something that we call a conditional. If you've used conditionals in class generally, then you will be able to do it in programming. And that there was a conditional then. A conditional is like, if you get lots of positive dojos, then you will get lots of purple foams. That's a conditional. And that's this piece of code here. And we use that a lot when we're doing Scratch. Okay. So what I'm going to tell it, the sprite, is if it's touching the colour blue, then do something else. Now you scroll down here. Can you see that? If touching colour. And it clicks into there. Now we can go in there and try and match the colour, but that's tricky. You probably won't get the correct colour, but what we can do is a nice neat trick is to click on this little dropper thing there, and then you can see when I go up and I can choose that colour there and watch what happens. Can you see that my blue platform colour is the same as that there? Let's put it in there. Now at the moment I've used a conditional. If touching the colour blue, then, well, it's not going to do anything. It's not doing anything. Okay, so what I have to do is I have to tell it to do something. Now if there was a bounce, so what do we want? Motion, which is moving. If there was a bounce off there, I would use that, but there isn't. So I had to think of another way around the problem and to solve the problem. Now we can use this, but what he will do is he will, if I do that, it kind of pushes him on forward. or her, sorry, it, or move 10 steps. So that's moving forward, 1, 10, 20, 30. And then if you move backwards, you can go -10, etc. So I'm just going to click that there, -10, and then I'm going to check it. Oh, it doesn't seem like it's working. Well, one thing I didn't do was click the flag, so it probably won't work. And I'm going to do it here. It's not stopping it. Now the reason is because he probably moved it back -10 steps, but he only did it once. So what we need to do is put a loop in there, and that loop here is because we want it to do it for the whole of the game. We want to do it forever. That goes in there. Oh, that's a mess. I've done it the wrong way around, haven't I? It is a little bit tricky. Okay, perhaps I'll drag that and put it in there. See how it's clicked in? Fabulous. In it goes, and then I test it. I press on the flag to start the game, and then I go up, and look, it's bouncing off it. Fantastic. Okay, remember, I'm going to just show you how we save it again. Save to your computer. Make sure it goes in the drive that has your class name on. I'm going to call this one John 3, and then I save it in there. Yours will be a little bit different, and that is the end of this lesson. Good luck in the class.